Okay, ready?
Yeah. Oh, Lee. You're worse shooting that way. It's all your fault.
Hello everyone, this is Jeff of Tal Flittermouse. Today we're going to be testing out this really cool slug by Nick Ross called the 675 Warhammer. Nick is a master machinist and well known in the shotgun reloading community as the guy who makes the 4-pin Nick Ross roll crimper. And I've been using his product for several years now and I love it. It does a great job. Now, these have been out of stock for a while now over at the Reloaders Network, but Nick just told me that they are back in stock again, which is good news. Now, this is a prototype that Nick sent me a couple years ago, and it has a recess in the center that has felt. You load it up with oil, and it's self-lubricating. It works great. And I keep telling Nick, you got to sell these things. They work really well. I don't know why no one else has thought of that. Okay, back to the Warhammer slug. It's made out of brass, so you know it's going to kick butt. Is that how the saying goes? Now, this is a super cavitating monolithic slug, similar to the Lehigh Defense Extreme Penetrator or Extreme Defender. They're the same thing. But these are on a much larger scale, and it's not tapered, so you have a much larger frontal area, larger scallops or scoops or whatever you want to call it, which should create some really impressive cavitation. The Warhammer weighs in at a respectable 590 grains. And if you don't know what grains are, we have all the units that everybody uses around the world. For today's test, we'll be using 40 grains of long shot powder, an X12X gas seal, a cork wad, and nestled in our sabots is the Warhammer slug. Now, sabo is an interesting word because a lot of people have many pronunciations of the word. If you're destined from Smarter Every Day, it's sabo. If you're Canadian, it might be sabo. And if you're from the South, it might be sabbat. And I've even heard other pronunciations. And I don't think there's one right way of pronouncing the word.
The sabo.
With our ambitious recipe, we're going to try to drive these to around 1,600 feet per second. That's our goal, or Mach 1.4. That's a lot of speed for a heavy boy like that. Let's see how they do.
Take these off.
And it appears we had pretty poor accuracy. This was only 15 yards away, but look at the size of that hole. Now, looking at the slug we recovered, you can see that it appears it did not hit nose first. That's a big problem. And there's evidence that it grazed the steel frame supporting the lead plate. And the Chronos high-speed camera footage confirms all this. Here it comes. It has a little bit of a spin, but it's tumbling pretty bad, and it hit sideways and went through the lead plate sideways. That's pretty impressive. That's a lot of energy, but that's not what we want. We want it to be stable flying. And that is why I equate all this testing to rocket science. If something can go wrong, it definitely will go wrong.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, a quick thank you to my brother Tim for helping me film this today. He was doing all the shooting. I tried to keep him off camera just for his own privacy. Now, the accuracy of this shot was a little bit better, and it does appear that it hit nose first, just based on the looks of that hole. Now, since we only had 6 of these slugs to shoot, the idea was to try to capture as many of these as we can and reshoot them so we can get more than just 6 shots. This one is definitely in good enough condition to load up and shoot again, and we'll give that a try. But first we'll see how that slug flew through the air. It's not much better. Still a little bit of tumbling going on, and it was just a matter of luck that it hit nose first. The good news is the bucket of sand was enough to stop the bullet without damaging it, and that was the goal of this test.
Wow. Okay, 1468. Finally a reading.
Look at that.
Finally a reading.
Now, a lot of viewers commented saying that we needed to put the lab radar on its own tripod, so we're giving that a try. Yes, we listened to you. Now, we only read 1,468 feet per second, which is quite a bit lower than our projected 1,600. Something is going wrong, and that is definitely a big clue. The slug hit kind of low on the magazines, plowed through it with no problem. I believe it went sideways through this one too. So there's not much to really show internally. So let's look at the high-speed footage and see what went wrong. Now, it's pretty normal to get at least one failure per video, but this is just getting ridiculous. Really bad stability leading to really terrible accuracy. And yes, this is the slug that we shot previously, so I don't think that had much to do with the failure. We have some other things going on, and we'll have to figure that out. Otherwise, a whole day is spent out there for nothing, and poor Nick is probably pulling his hair out at this point, seeing this test and all these failures.
Okay, we got the ballistic head. Viewer asked me to put a mustache on there, and the pen ran out of ink, so it's a little awkward looking. But it's a good time to talk about, if we could go back in time, would you assassinate Charlie Chaplin if you had an opportunity?
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, ready?
Yeah. Oh, Lee. Oh.
Another shot, and yes, another failure. This one was worse than the rest, but the impact on the Kevlar vest was just immense. It actually tore a piece of it out. But we have an important clue here. You can see that the gas seal is all mangled up. It blew out. And because we didn't have good gas sealage, that's probably why we had lower than expected velocities. And there it is again there. So that explains the low velocities, but why are the projectiles flying so wonky? We'll find out in a minute here.
Okay. Here we go, right in the middle of the juts.
Oh my gosh.
Now, obviously, the problem is that Tim is left-handed, and he shouldn't have a right-handed shotgun. But all seriousness, we can't blame the shooter in this case. Now, after this shot, we finally found all the clues we needed to solve this mystery. That's what the gas seal normally looks like, and that's the blown-out one. And this seems to be a manufacturing defect. We've never had any issues with this high-pressure gas seal ever. On the left is what the Sabo normally looks like before we shoot it, and one on the right is one recovered after it is shot. But what we started finding were really mangled and melted Sabos, especially this one. It's almost unrecognizable. So essentially the gas seal failed and blasted the Sabos with high pressure, very hot gas and melted them. So we lost all integrity, and that's why we were not getting any spin. It's almost like trying to drive your car without tires. You need those tires. So desperation took over, and we decided to make a field modification when using gas seals that we found out in the weeds, and put it on top of the cork wad just under the slug. In theory, this shouldn't work, but let's see if this helps.
There you go. You can tell it went clean through there. Finally. There you go.
It's a good sign when you hit the velocity that you expect it to hit, 1,607, and look at the stability. That's how it's supposed to work, folks. Sorry it took this long.
a new idea here. Got ballistic gel with a vertebrae inside there. That's crazy looking, huh? Looks kind of good. We're gonna shoot at that, see what it kind of does, what kind of bone damage the slug will do to that. It's a neat target. That's exactly what a vertebrae looks like too. They're actually crooked like that in there. Got black background. Hopefully that'll help it show up on camera. Jeez, bones flying out. Jeez.
Well, it looks like we solved the issue we had. Another very stable slug, hauling butt, and just tearing the bones up of that simulated Sasquatch neck. Like I said, that's a new target. If you like it, let me know. We'll try to do it more often.
Okay. There's like a big cavity in there where the bone was because it spit out a whole lot of the bone. There's some of the bone, the actual vertebrae that somebody, Gasparito's grandfather, willed him. I'm sure the joke there. That's what it looked like, and there's the slug. Easily passed through and then slammed into our sand trap. The sand trap's working great today. Okay, that one looked good.
Well, we had 6 slugs and somehow managed to get 9 shots out of that. And fortunately, we solved the problem we were having and were able to get good, clean, accurate shots. We never would have hit that block very well had we not fixed it. And let's slow it down and watch it one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the WARHAMMER slug. Super cavitation, the entire length of the block. That's phenomenal. I'm sure glad you stuck around this long and watched the good results, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you give it a thumbs up, we appreciate that. If you want to give it a thumbs down, you can do that too. We know how you are. Ah.
That's a nice looking wound track there. My brother said it looked like a feather. It does look like a feather all the way through for the most part, and it petered off near the end. Very, for the first time, I don't think he ever shot a block of gel before, so he was holding about an inch below the top for the offset of the red dot, and pretty much nailed it right down the center. But yeah, then it hit the sand, and baha! Are you gonna focus for me? Then we found the slug, and it's actually shootable again. Just strip the paint right off of it.
I just want to remind you that we don't take any paid sponsorships, and we don't want to annoy you with VPN ads or whatever. So thank you to our Patreon supporters and our channel members for your ongoing support.